And it's crazy how fast their mind just takes in certain things. It's amazing. I've been in awe these last like 11 months of just watching this kid grow up before my eyes, and it's only been 1 year. I'm thinking of my parents, and I mean I just turned 35, so I can imagine it's like their kid turning 35, and I'm in all about a first year life of my son. So it's like more things to come. It's crazy.
Yeah, it makes you really sympathetic and like say, "Wow, man, I hope I was a good was I a good kid? Like
Yeah, I think I've
did I give my
apologized one or
parents
two
a bunch of
times.
lit?" Yeah, it's like, "Oh, wow, now I get it." I was talking to my
Yeah.
father about traveling or something like that, and and he was just saying, you know, and it was something good, and he just said, now you see the reason why we do these things as
Yes.
parents. And I
Yes.
said, yeah, you're right. Like you it seems so labor intensive, and it seems like how could you even come up with that much energy or be able to even come up with that much love? And you're like, oh,
Hmm.
it just comes with the baggage.
It does.
The kid comes and you're like, oh, I get it. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah. It's just amazing how it's like a light switch that just comes on. And that was the biggest thing that I was worried about. Is like, I mean, I know I'm not like a kid person, so how am I just gonna automatically be that type of person? But you just don't even think about it. That kid just pops out and you're just like, okay, dad mode, I'm officially a dad. And like
Yeah.
you like from that instant you just kind of like know, you never know what to do, but then in that instant you're like, okay, your mind just does like a switch, and you're like, okay, this is what you got to do now, and it's like you instantly just know what you're doing. It's crazy.
Yeah, the protector comes out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you just look at I mean, for me, you look at kids differently now. Like, even since I've had my own, people with their own kids, I'm more sympathetic to be like, I mean, knowing that I have my own, I know how, parents kind of go through a lot of their ups and downs and everything now. And just, because like I said, I was never much of a kid person. So either I would be like intimidated or kind of scared to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I don't know how to talk to babies, but now it's like it's like a natural thing to be like, if a kid comes up, you're like, oh, hey, how you doing, buddy? So
You cross that line. You're like no longer, on the outside. You're like, oh, I can talk to everybody now, even the ones who are less than, 4
yeah,
feet. This is
it's like you
cool.
you you unlock the level, the new
Yeah,
level of life, the new
exactly.
achievement. The new achievement is unlocked.
Yeah, well, they see through everything, and they cut to the core, and you
Hmm.
notice that you start, remembering things from your childhood. You start going back in time, and the things that they go through, you're like, wow, this is like, really an ancient thing that's somewhere like embedded in me.
Uh huh.
That's I think that, like we have our DNA, and if you look at it, in the way that science explains it, it's like a
Right.
code, right? And the way that I always like to think about it is, you have all these DNA. How similar is it? First of all, how similar is it to you? It's very similar, right? To
Right.
everybody on this earth, very similar. So that's a unifying characteristic right there. We should
Hmm.
embrace. Just the flat and like, hey, that's amazing. Let's all get along.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's so similar with my ancestors, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like it's like a message that's like kept through time, that whatever you said, what was that thing? In a way, we're kind of run by our chemicals in our body and our hormones,
Right.
and like what thing kicks in. They say like men testosterone goes down more like when
As they
women
get
are
older.
pregnant. Or well, and when they're, I
Yeah.
think when their wives are pregnant,
Mm.
and um, prolactin goes up,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that helps to suppress. I think is the way that it works, suppress testosterone. But you didn't make that decision.
Right.
Your body just did it. So chemicals or something just kicked in,
Hmm.
and so that's why I think even especially if we make this a really amazing transition in the music here. I think it's like when you think about it, you kind of get a little stuck sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, oh, did I make a wrong note? Did I sing a wrong verse? Just go with it. Just
Right.
go with it. Because that's you're in the moment, and you don't want that train wreck to come because
Yeah.
that's gonna, you start thinking, oh, I hit that wrong note. Sorry, guys. Oh, the song,
And then the listener half the time is just like, not even worrying about a wrong note, or they don't even know you hit a wrong note. And that's always been my mindset. It's like sometimes that will be in my mind, like, crap, like my playing is really really bad right now, let me pick it up. But then I'm thinking half the time these people don't even know you hit a wrong note, they're just proud to be watching music. So
hmm
it's on the same fence of just, uh, even if you hit a wrong note, just like you said, you're in the moment, just continue to, do what you got to do. And it's all going to work out in that sense. And I just want to reiterate what you were saying with the science part. It seems like a little bit. Do you have like a science background, or you just do a lot of science research?
Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything, but I actually have a science degree, or a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition.
Oh, really?
So I have, taken the organic chemistry and
Yes.
the microbiology and all that kind of stuff. So the schooling would be basically on par with like nurses,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then they it kind of like diverts, pathway, and then we start talking about like metabolism and all those fun things. But the basis is all basically the same. So yeah, I've always loved science and study of science and all that kind of stuff. And I think
Awesome.
music is very mathematical as well.
Yes, I'm actually I have my master's in general biology, and I'm
Wow.
actually I actually work in a microbiology lab dealing with probiotics for kidney health.
Hey, that's amazing, man. I love
So
that.
it's really cool work, and it's been a company. We're a small company, but we've been it's like a company that's been going on for about 23 years now, and we're just in the early stages of trying to become the pharmaceutical company. We've been a
Mhm.
dietary we've been a dietary supplement company for 20 plus years, and there's only so far you can go with trying to get your product out as a dietary supplement, because when you're trying to go to all these nephrologists and doctors, I mean, you can show them as much data as you want, and we've shown them and proved that our data has been clinically validated like a drug, and we've had many patients on our products and had positive outcomes. But if it's not a drug, they're not gonna like snap on it, because
Mhm.
in the drug area, I mean, if you're not getting a kickback, I mean, they ain't gonna take anything. So I think with our company, we've started to dip uh, our toes into the drug field. But there is a new field. I forget the name of it, but it's like a like it's a bio type of pharmaceutical firm that they just started putting out through the FDA, and we're trying to be one of the I would probably say one of the first companies to get our clinical trial phases done, and go through that whole realm to eventually get into that type of thing, and hopefully that'll help our sales, and get us to the next tower of what we want to do. But I've been in there since my college years. They actually took me as an intern, and the guy who was interning me, he was actually moving on to Merck, and then he was silently training me to take his position, which I did not know. And when he moved, they offered me his job, so I've been full time there since out of college. And I was very lucky, because there was a lot of people that I graduated with that didn't even land any jobs outside when they graduated. They were like, I had like 100 to 300 applications out, and I got no callbacks. And I was at that brink where getting an internship, it was my last resort. And somebody came out to me saying, "Hey, this company is having internships. Want to give it a try?" I'm like, "Well, everybody else turned me down, so I might as well give it a try." And
How
thankfully,
about that? That's
they took
amazing.
they
Yeah.
took me in, and it was kind of like one of those things. Like it was like the perfect place, the perfect time. This person knew that person who needed somebody to get an internship with, and it's just one of those times you're just like in the right place, the right time, and it's a really nice company. The fact that it's I guess it's good that it's a small company because with bigger companies like your traditional like GlaxoSmithKlines and stuff, not saying that they're bad or anything, but they're so big of companies, you just feel like a number there. There's like
Yeah.
you punch in, you punch out, you do your work, but you may not be able to ever see your CEOs or bosses that are there. Where I see my many bosses every day, and every employee that's there when it comes to marketing, and even my people that I work with inside the lab. But it's and like you said, I've always had a big interest in science coming into school, and I wanted to do music, but I knew that music was only going to take you so far. And my parents are both big educational people. My dad's a doctorate of education. My mom was working through the early education field, so they were both big on getting your college degree, at least doing something.
Yeah.
Not that they didn't want me doing music because they loved me doing music, but they said always have like a fallback, something to fall back on. So,
Totally.
I've and I didn't really have any interest in anything but science and music at that time. So it was like, all right, well, let me just try this science stuff, and it's the only other thing that was keeping me interested. So it's cool to kind of see the you have a deep interest in science like myself, and it's cool. That's why I
Yeah.
love doing these type of shows and meeting these everybody and even new people, because like you never know who you're gonna run into, you never know who you're gonna talk to, and it's awesome that we can have like this little similarity between us.
I was gonna say we could probably talk about science for an hour
Oh
if we
yeah,
wanted.
we could definitely make this a science talk.
You have to make a new show for that one,
Yeah, it
oh,
might have to be a B-side for it, talking biotics.
yeah. And here's where we went off on a tangent on such and such a thing.
Yeah, man. And especially in this last year with everybody, some people are for science, some people are putting science in the dirt. It's like, yeah, it's such a crazy time that we're living in with how everything's been going, and
Mhm.
you know not bringing into like politics and stuff, but because I usually never talk politics. I've never been the best at talking politics, but it's like it's uh dealing with a lot of this viruses and stuff. Us as scientists, we know how detrimental these things can be, but I feel it's gone way too political than what it needed to be. And I think it's just a shame how political it got, because I think this thing could have really gone a better way if I think if there wasn't an election around this thing, it would have been a totally
Bad
different
timing.
story. Yeah, I just think if there wasn't an election, I think it would have been a totally different story about it.
Hmm. Yeah, well, you know what? It's the same thing. I stay away from the politics, and
Hmm.
I only know, I know more about music than anything, so I'll stick with
Yeah,
that as my.
yeah. That's a good answer, and that's what I would probably say too. I know more about music than politics, so I'll stick to the music.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stick to what I'm good at.
So what got you into? I mean, we'll probably. I don't want to say too much to not have stuff to talk about tomorrow night, but like you're a guitar player. What actually got you into playing music?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, my folks weren't necessarily music people, but my father was like the biggest music fan, and he would always be telling his friends, "Oh, this is the next cool thing to listen to," or "This is like the up and coming thing," and he took a lot of pride in that kind of stuff. And music to him was part of his personality and part of who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So we got an education in lots of things, but one of those was in real music.
Hmm.
And I was in seventh grade. My father took me to see the Allman Brothers at the
Nice.
Tower, and that was like mind blowing. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life to this date.
Hmm.
and it was incredible. We of course were brought up on all this incredible music,
Yeah.
and playing air guitar in my room for many years. And my father, he's more grew up playing sports and stuff like that. So we were kind of, pushed to do those kind of things, or not pushed, but we had the opportunity to do those things because we had so many, we didn't have a ton of money, but we had
Yeah.
so many different opportunities. We were always doing something. And music wasn't actually something I got into until I was in high school.
Uh.
And friend of mine who had a guitar, I, may have borrowed that for a while and messed around. And I said, okay, yeah, I got to get one of these. And I saved up for I think it was a Mexican Stratocaster from George's Music,
There you go.
and
Yeah.
that was it, man. It was a white Stratocaster. It was like Eric Clapton kind of thing, and
Hmm.
the rest
Yeah.
is history.
Yeah, man. I love the whole, you know, maple fretboard, white body to the Fender Stratocaster. Always reminds me of the Hendrix Woodstock
Yeah.
guitar. That's like if I had the money, I would totally just go right now and just buy one of those because I've seen so many people playing them, and I'm just like, that's like my one of my dream guitars to get.
Yeah, yeah, those are great. Anymore I travel a decent amount to whereas I can't, I got rid of all my expensive guitars, and now I have one acoustic. It's, I bought it for maybe like $400.
Hmm.
Good, electric acoustic kind of guitar. And I have a PRS that is about the same thing. Good
Uh,
setup on it. You know,
nice.
bring, bring it to John Treff's if you're in Delaware County. Everybody
Hmm.
knows John Treff's for a setup.
Hmm.
And that's what he told me, years ago was, obviously getting a great guitar is nice, but more importantly, get a guitar that does operate, the way that it should, get it set up properly.
Yes.
Then you got a $1 million guitar right there.
Yeah. As I've been getting older, I've learned that keeping your guitar in a good tune up and knowing people that can set it up, in a good way goes a long way with keeping your guitar the playability going for years and years to come. Because I mean, when you're a kid, you buy a guitar, you just play it. You don't know, about tone. You don't know about, keeping the maintenance going. You just want to start strumming those chords and throw your distortion up to 10 and, just say, hey, I'm playing power chords and blah, blah, blah. So as I've been getting older, I still do the same thing, but now it's just more the fact that, I'm getting more, knowledge into keeping your guitars, in better shape and, giving them the proper, maintenance so that, you're not just letting them sit in a dusty closet and then expecting them to sound good in like a year.
Mm, exactly. Yeah. These things we learn the hard way.
Yeah. The more you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And the more guitars, you don't take care of, and then you're like,
Yeah.
it cost me a lot of money. I should have taken better care of it. And, yeah, so that's how we learn. Unfortunately, even with the kids, you can tell them as much as you want, but
Mm-hmm.
it's until they fall that they learn the lesson.
Yep. Absolutely. It's definitely gonna be experiencing. I know you got 4 years under your belt, and I'm just a starter here, but I feel it's just been so many lessons, and just knowing that they're still so young and they have so much to learn, and you feel that you're like you have so much more to teach them, even if they're like 3 4 years old. That they're still they still haven't experienced much, and it's like I just look at him every once in a while. I'm like, there's so much that I can teach you, and I'm going to teach you. And I mean, you look forward to those moments that you get to those moments of like, okay, this is a teaching moment, and don't
Mm.
screw it up. And I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's
there's those
it.
times
You're the dad.
there's those times where you're like, okay, I probably should have handled that a little different. But then there's times you're like, yeah, I handled that one pretty good. I'll take that as a good one.
Yeah, you got to have a quick learning curve and say, okay, you know what, I'm the adult here. Like me and my wife always say, like, you know, You should know better. No, we should know better. We're 30
Yeah,
years old into this experiment. No, they
right.
don't know any better. They're just the same thing. They're chemicals running around their body. They're trying to figure out everything.
Uh-huh.
It's like we're the ones who should know better.
Right.
So, we say, okay, I was in the wrong. Let me
Mhm.
apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's definitely experience. But and
Awesome.
again, like I appreciate you coming on, and glad that because I don't get many people that usually come to me for the shows, but when it's like that, I really appreciate it. I definitely want to get them on as fast as possible, because knowing that somebody came to me to be on the show rather than me reaching out to other people to being like, hey, you want to come on the show? And if there's somebody that's like asking me to be like, hey, I want to come on, then I make sure that they are on there a little bit sooner than somebody that I'm trying to get on myself. So
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad to make the contact. And, like I said, Zach, I know had a really good experience on the show, and kind of, checked out a couple of the episodes and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I
I'm
appreciate it.
more than
Thank you.
happy to be a part of it. I always got something going on. So last time I contacted you, I think I was coming back east for a show. So I'm in California now,
Yes.
but I was coming back east for a show, and I said, oh, let's, get a little publicity, or, talk to some people who are on the East Coast and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I think after you had contacted me the first time, I was looking at your profile, and again, thought you were a local guy, because I knew you were on the Delco Quarantine Facebook page. I'm like, okay, cool, another Delco Quarantine alumni. Then I saw you were, had like some California gigs, and I'm like, he's traveling all the way out to California, and like, but then I'm like, oh, okay, I think he lives in California, and going back and forth. I'm like, okay, cool, that's awesome, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Now you hit it on the head there. Yeah, I've been out here for about 2 years or so.
awesome, awesome. How
Yeah.
is it out there?
Where we're at, the weather's beautiful. I mean, it's, we're like right on the beach in Santa Cruz, California.
Nice,
So it's a lot of like, some days it gets really foggy. Mostly every day it's like a gorgeous 65 in the
nice.
sun, shade. It's like so cool. So the weather is great, and like we're 15 minutes from the mountains. So it's got
Mm,
a really cool like little microclimate, where it's like now in the summer it's like really hot up in the mountains, but it doesn't really change here,
that's
and it's
awesome.
always
Yeah, we
nice,
just got
nice.
done having like a heat wave coming through. It's been like 90, almost hitting like 100, and we're kind of coming down on it a little bit. But yeah, we've been like the last 2 weeks we've been getting most of our like hot weather here in the Delco area, and it's just like, I'm a summer guy until it gets to like those like really big heat waves, and I'm like, okay, summer can calm down.
Yeah. My wife and I, we lived in Philly but both lived in different places, but
Hmm.
like 15 years or something. I don't know, I forget how long, 12 years or something like that. But when we were together, we would always joke, like in the summer, or the winter, she would say, "Oh, I can't wait for the summer," and then the summer would come and we go, "Oh my gosh, it's so hot."
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. So I mean, a cold, calm 65 sounds really nice about right now.
Yeah, we're very lucky that, as far as that goes. And like any place, it has its ups and downs, and there's no perfect place, but kind of try to make your way around and find some new things.
Yeah, man. I've only been to L.A. Well, no, I've been to San Francisco, or no, sorry, it's was it San Francisco or San Diego? I think it was San Diego. I've been to
Mhm.
San Diego. I've been in the L.A. airport for like work conferences, like just going through the airport of LA, and then we had a conference in San Diego. So I've spent minimal time in California, but the times that I spent there, it's very nice. I love it. It's just a different atmosphere out there. And, they always say, West Coast to East Coast, it's like totally different, mindset of people too. It's, it seems like, with the Philly area, I mean, you got people that are like really fast paced people, and like West Coast, it's like, it seems like a little more laid back, which is kind of like my style. I'm never
Yeah.
much of a rush type of person. I hate rushing. I'm always like that. You know, take your time. Everything's gonna be okay. You're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, well, if you can add in some like pregnant pauses, some like awkward moments, or it's like people just out here, I find they just kind of stop for like everybody's comfortable with that. And me and my wife are like, do I talk? There's like somebody can breathe right now and they're not talking. So it's a different beast. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's good catching up with you and talking with get a feel for the show here.
Yeah, man. And